All right, away we go for a Tuesday. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right to it. Want to shoot over to some informational items. Friday, join us for option seminar part 2. We get into some longer term things, longer term option strategies as a follow up to last month's. Actually, it was June. Welcome, happy August, by the way. So that'll be Friday, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. Eastern. Join us. And if you're not aware, of course, get over to harmonictrader.com, become a basic member. That's where everything begins. Just an email, register now, and then everyone should get with TradingView. And the other thing, we're going to be using this eSignal platform for the options, for those option charts. Take a look at that. A lot going on. Hey, we got a down market today, but this is just another little pullback within the uptrend, and I think it's let's look at a couple immediate things right off the bat, because a couple of 5-minute things I've posted in the Discord setting up. We'll talk about crypto. We'll talk about yet another arrest or new SEC charges filed against another crypto influencer. I think you guys know all about that. I mean, no surprise there. Here's, let's just start right off the top, do the top 5. Here's Microsoft, something I posted this morning, 333.50's been our number since yesterday, and now you're back up to target 2 already. But yet another really nice just 5-minute pullback in these mega tech setting up for perfect type 2s. Check that out. What's going on, chat? Great to see everybody. Justin, Evan, It Flies, Mr. Ken, Ivan, Simo, Big Qua. What up, Philly? How you doing? Mount Zion, everyone else, great to see you. Welcome back. Let's just pinpoint some opportunities. Look, the summer playbook. We've been saying this since May or April. Playing the big tech options, 5-minute pullbacks with 60-minute HSI signals. And that's where, look at, that's Microsoft right now. Look, Microsoft's pushing a nice, let me remove the VWAP. We can see that more clearly, but our last signal here on the hourly is oversold for Microsoft. So that with some 5-minute patterns down there around 335, 333, we're looking for that to be a pivot low. Start to head back up. So that's number one, and Microsoft's still number one. Number two is still NVIDIA. And I think we talked about, posted this morning on NVIDIA, and this is, check out the hourly on NVIDIA. Really nice reaction here to target 1, 461, but that's about it. Where's my, don't know what happened to my arrow. Anyway, so we're squeezed in NVIDIA, but 460 is support. I'm looking for something like that for a launch point back to go back to test 472, 480. I mean, by Friday. And here's the 5-minute deal. I posted this morning. Check it out. Type 2 off of that last bat that goes back to what's that, Friday, 462, and then you put in a deep crab. So maybe one more retest, but I like what I'm seeing in the low 460 area for NVIDIA, and then you pop and you do make that eventual run where you go to 500. Definitely. I just like how it's coming together. And check out the long-term chart. Not even long-term, daily. You go back 3 months, 6 months. I mean, that's just steady uptrend day over day. I mean, that's even since the earnings pop, that hasn't given you any kind of a sign of reversal or exhaustion or whatever. That's just follow through, continuation, ride that trend line up. Number 3, let's make it Apple. You know, it's only like the biggest in the world or one of the biggest that these pop around, but we're still within the pattern framework. 206 is the target for Apple. We go and we hit that overshoot hop level at 206. Not to mention, so something I want to talk about in a couple of issues today. These high-level HSI signals. We've seen a lot of daily bullish signals against a bearish trend, and that usually pushes you higher, which is what Apple's doing. Again, I think 200 is a no-brainer on this move. 206 is the hop level, and that makes sense. So take a look there. We're still favoring. We've had a number of 5-minute pullbacks just because this thing looks like it's just nonstop. Check it out. You know, there's been, in the last 4 weeks, there's been a number of 5-minute opportunities within these uptrends. Just last week at Thursday was 193. And then you go back, where was a couple of other ones that were down at like 189. Yeah, that was the last one there. It was like 189. It was a shark pattern. I know it's all bunched up, but that's what we're looking for. Listen, sometimes are we wrong on the 5-minute? Sometimes, but it's pretty clear directionally where we're headed, and we get that longer term uptrend nailed. Then it's just type 1, come back for the 2, and then go. 1 and 2 and go. And we've seen that quite a bit. Street Shark is asking, what is a type 2? My friend, a type 2 is all that information is available on the basic members page. So type 1 reaction, type 2 reversal, read all of that in Harmonic Trading Volume 3. I know we do continue to get new Harmonic traders in here, and check out that, and then check out all the videos that outline those strategies, because they are different strategies, different expectations. A lot of what we've been talking about, especially for looking for the best opportunities, are highlighting these type 2 on a 5-minute, because that's where we know things can happen. So be mindful of that. And here's a couple of type 2. So Palantir, folks, last week we were talking about Palantir at 1650. This is going to be one of the stocks I feature as one of our longer term plays, because we were talking about Palantir and Rivian last month in the June session for these longer term targets. Probably should have covered some of that, but plenty of time no matter what. Palantir on the hourly, beautiful crab patterns at each continuation point. We're up here. We're a little overextended, but check it out. Even on the hourly, Palantir is so strong, it just flashed an oversold reading where that could be a high-level continuation at around 1940. But we like Palantir. We've liked Palantir ever since the real bust out. And I still say, 21, that's the all-time 382 retracement. Check it out. We're just looking for, or we were assuming, I have been assuming, this long-term 382 corrective move, but let's see what happens. I think 21 is easy, not a problem. Maybe we go, this is starting to look a lot like Rivian, quite frankly, where we go to 50 or 618. And so we're not talking 20 bucks, we're talking 30 for Palantir. Let's just line up getting it, continuing to get in on it at the right levels. What's going on, everybody? Matthew, hey. Matthew's asking, are there pattern invalidation measured? Are there pattern invalidation measured moves? I see what you're saying. Similar to a head and shoulders. That is really more about playing BAM breakouts, 1618 continuation type things, or even the longer term stuff. Like we've been talking about 20 bucks, $21 on Palantir. And now let's see what it does up here. Weekly chart's probably clearer. Anyway, hold on. Okay, the next 30 minutes brought to you by Jet Fuel Coffee. Thank God. But Palantir, we just continue to look for continuations of that uptrend. I'll show you a couple that we can look at right now that are like this. The other one was Rivian. I didn't even finish my top 5, but let's just, you guys got me. I think this stuff is, this has been some choice harmonic action. Rivian's a type 1. Are we going to get a rollover here and end the type 1, or is this going to break out on through? Not quite clear. But if this is Palantir with its pattern, it's kind of like on its way to its minimum first target. Yes. I should get that. I should actually do a promo for that coffee place where I get my coffee. Get them to sponsor the show. Here's the other one. So check out, I'm going to jump over to crypto in moments, but here's CleanSpark. Okay, we're looking for a similar thing here, a pullback, end of that pullback, and then a continuation. On this is a, what was that, an hourly? I posted this yesterday. Here we go. So hourly here, you got a couple of patterns right off the top, somewhere around 550, 580. A bunch of these that are popping up. These are some of the individual things we've been looking at for a while. Let me finish the list though before we get too out of control. We know the deal on Apple. Continue to look for those 5-minute pullbacks up to 206. Number 4 has got to be Meta, which put in something really important this morning at 315, now 323. Check this. So we had a little small micro pattern. There you go, 317. I know it just got overshot in the pre-market. And now back with a deep crab. But this, you see this stuff bouncing left and right. Meta is still all about the 886. So check it out. Weekly chart. I mean, that's just an amazing crab pattern. At the low at 116. Now we're at 322. 886 is 355, 360. That's the big target for Meta, and we're looking for that. I think in the next 2 or 3 months. September, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe put in some kind of top up there. For now, the bullish engulfing. I said this last week. That's a big candle, same way as it was there and there. So is that the start of something or the continuation of something? Maybe. Couple more. But that is Meta, and like the rest of these, we're just waiting for 5 minutes. I mean, right now it's a bearish pattern, so I'm not looking to get long on that, but if Meta pulled back, maybe Meta does a 5-minute thing like here and then goes. I would definitely try to pick something up there. Number 4. Let's go with Netflix because that's another one. Been bouncing around quite a bit on the 5-minute chart. Now that bottom, remember last week, that bottomed at 413 and a couple things down there. Okay, hourly, a few oversold hourly, and we're already halfway. I mentioned this last week. Look, we're looking for the termination of this test here and come back and retest maybe 457, 460. I think the 4-hour chart was better. Yeah, there you go, the 4-hour chart. It's a shark, it's a crab. There's a few things, but 460. You're already halfway there. Nothing on the 5-minute, not on Netflix. I think it was NVIDIA. NVIDIA did have the pattern. NVIDIA's pattern is down there at like 462 or 463. QQQs are off $1.65. S&P's off 20. Kind of a mild retracement day. But I like the action that we've got going on in stocks. And we've got, I think, a few other interesting things going on in crypto. Number 5 could be any one of these. I think that was 5. Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple, Meta, Netflix. Why not? Let me just highlight a couple. Just reinforce a couple of the bigger ones I still like. Here's Intel on a 5-minute, another continuation setup. And I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on each of these because they don't need much time. But Intel is still massive. It's a weekly type 1 bullish crab, goes to 441.36. minimum target 1 objective. And this is probably another good one for options. Something like looking for these Intel, looking at these 5-minute pullbacks or even hourly pullbacks, because we had some last week. Check it out. We had a butterfly last week, 31, or yeah, 10 days ago, not even. Had some nice patterns on that, and that set it off for a 20% move. And this is doing more. I mean, look, our assumption is this is halfway through a type 1 reaction, and it will get to 41.35 before any kind of significant retracement. So we wait for these pullbacks within that uptrend. So that's another one. Line that up. Again, it's probably going to be boring versus some other ones, but I like it. I like it more than most. Let's put it that way. And then a few others. Check out Qualcomm, folks. That's been another one where you're overbought, obviously on the hourly or 4-hour. But I'm more interested in, we've been talking about this area around 110 or 105. I think it's a weekly or daily. Several patterns, in that 110 area generally. And now we broke out of the downtrend. You can't deny that. This is where Qualcomm could do something, probably has a greater probability here to do something more than since it topped a year and a half ago. Just incredible. And you go off the all-time retracement with Qualcomm, and there's a bunch of these. We talked about them on last week. All-time 382 minimum retracements get you to 136, 138, maybe as high as 140 just on this thrust. So bunch of opportunities here. I mean, a lot of these that are kind of waking up, if it's Rivian or Palantir or Qualcomm or, something even more boring. Here's another one, 3M. Okay, kind of sloppy, but if the Dow wakes up and continues to rock, stocks like this are going to catch a bid. No doubt. Let's take a look at big numbers on the daily for Qs. Almost at the all-time 886, and I'm going to take a serious look very soon. We've completed the crab pattern, which I think is important to note because, off of the peak from last August down into the October low, really sharp correction. Now we have a thrust. It's an impulse, 1618, meaning a sharp, direct, straight move to the 1618. If it does not continue through this, that's going to get me some, that will catch my eye. That will get me looking closely at the exact numbers of 383.96 to 387.11. 886 is 393. I don't think, when we're talking about that, I don't think it really matters. I think it's pretty clear. It's 380 to 390 generally. Let's keep our eyes open. What are we looking for? Signs of a pause, signs that our targets and everything that started back in January has been satisfied, where I do think this is a strong move. I do think this will eventually move higher, but I think there's going to have to be a natural level of digestion where we are at that potential point. Here's the monthly. Okay, are we going to pause here? Digest this whole move of the last really 12 months now at this point. I mean, you go back to the October low there, even September, there's August, but we're going to come up make that run, and then we will see. But we're final throws of it. So if you see it flush up to 390, 395 again, and then not get through, that's probably the sign. And we go into a sideways pullback range of even just look at these monthly charts, the monthly lows. Even in a really strong uptrend, let's go back and retest the low from each prior month is probably the first place to look. So immediate support down at 364, 365, your resistance and strong resistance coming in at 390, under this 400 level. So be mindful of that. The final thing, listen, one of the reasons why you have the software is for things like this. There you go. So we want to see HSI. If it's going to blow through and break out, that has to continue higher. The other problem, not problem, but the other issue that links up with the price action. So right here, amplified RSI, starting to roll over at an interesting point. This is definition RSI BAM, long term on a monthly chart. It's quite early. This is probably 2 or 3 months away from completing and really sealing the deal. But I think it's important to note you're in a really high level here on the monthly chart. And for this to be a breakout, you need to continue higher. And I mean, now in the next 2 or 3 months, you need to keep this strong rally continuing. And you also want to see this break about 111, 112 on the monthly chart, which says, okay, if this is a real big breakout now, we just continue to follow through. And we'll see. But I'm up at this 886. This is something we thought could happen maybe next year. It's happening now in the fall. And we're going to really take a hard look on the cues. And same goes for the SPY. We're looking for that 886. Oh, not that one, not the pi. SPY, 886. Matthew's asking, so if the BAT breaks or the 886 breaks, do we automatically go to a 1618? Great question. It definitely depends on exact structure. Generally, yeah, but we have to plow through that 886. There's the SPY, monthly, 465. All right. Still yet to be tested. We have a couple other numbers below this, but you've got, if you connect the dots here, okay, what you really have is a shark pattern. And that shark has some minimum constraints a little bit higher as well. So in this case, we can't just say, okay, exactly at the 886, that determines what happens. Because that's a shark. It's not really a W formation on the monthly. That's why this 886 1.0 retest, what happens here, really important. Follow through action now. Let's look at a couple more individual things that I've brought up, maybe some things that are kind of native to our discussion that you might not find anywhere else. Here's this CRISPR. This is another one of these, puts in a big pattern down here at the bottom, and it's trying to do stuff longer term. This is a big concept stock, and check it out. It's has this deep crab down here into the low. Kind of looks like Coinbase, but we're at the bottom end of that range. That's one. What's the other one? Here's another one. Agilent. Keep saying this. Come back to this. Whole bunch of patterns here. It popped. We've been looking at Agilent since about 118. It went to 130 recently and then got smacked back down. That's still okay. Early stages there. Another one hasn't really been an official thing, but look, Roku is like Carvana and a lot of these type of concept stocks. When they get into this type of position, and they've certainly confirmed the structural low, because there's your inflection low, there's the confirmation low, that we can start somehow connecting some dots of like, okay, is this some kind of complex formation, some kind of W formation that can give us, go to an ABCD off the bottom, like a 50% level, even better. Something like Roku. It popped big. It was up 20% in one day last week. But this is triggering a longer term potential move where, 220, 200 off of a long-term base like that means that's just getting going. And 5-minute time frame had had bullish patterns in Roku. Bunch of these bullish 5-minute patterns again are the type of things you want to be taking shots at. That was an earnings play. Here's one that someone mentioned last week. I forget who did, but big congrats to you. I'm really good with remembering symbols. It just comes from years and years of looking at this stuff. And someone posted this Billy, whatever. I have no idea what it is. What is this? Does anybody know what this is? This Billy had a couple of big patterns down here. But we're seeing concept stocks like this with big fat patterns. Some of them, it's like crypto for sure, where they have those big patterns looking left. Now with the tech, this really reminds me of .com 2.0. This is just like 2003, 2005. You had a bunch of these concept stocks that survived, and then they put in a low, and then they came back. Here's ARC Innovation. I think is another one. You have made enough progress now. You're to the right of the downtrend. You're clearly stabilizing out of the trend. The beautiful thing is that your pattern level is 46. Even though that went to 28, doesn't matter. We want to be to the right of the downtrend and then get me from 46 to 82. That's the proposition there. Bingo Bananas, Mesopotamia says, Sunrun looks ready for a breakout. I'll give you one before I go to there. Here's Solar Edge. So I'm looking at this Solar Edge. This has been another concept stock. Squeeze between two bats, 356 on the top side, 200 on the downside. So I've been looking at these solar stocks. First Solar is just this is just massive, amazing. I'm watching this. Are we gonna fail this, or are we gonna continue higher? On the daily, Solar Edge has got a couple of bearish patterns at the moment. So I'm watching that, because this would be, if it continues higher, if you break out, just look at the last 5 years. I mean, it's just been steady cruising uptrend. But your Sunrun, S-Run, because I do remember that one. Is it just RUN, or is it? I thought it was SRUN. Here's RUN. Beautiful. All right, do you have, is this Brian? Who has it? Who put that up? Bingo put that up. You must have the software. That's beautiful. I really like that. I thought I was all good with the Solar Edge. That's even better than Solar Edge. Nice one. Who said that one? Bingo and Brian. Brian, it's not quite a type 2 return, although I like the idea. You did have this pop move, but you didn't get to target 1. So it still is kind of a type 1. Doesn't matter. 1680, 17 bucks on the weekly. Every time you get down there, and look at the daily. So really nice. Back to back. Nice pattern. A whole bunch of patterns down there. You know, that's a great setup where that's just a matter of time. That could take 3 months, but you've got obvious target resistance back at 38 from 17 to 20, call it like that. Couple more. NVAX. Why do I know that? Novavax? Wasn't that was something? Okay, type 2 on a butterfly here. That's a real low floater. So, you know, don't over allocate. That's the way you avoid trouble with those. Don't over allocate. Because if it's going to be a real grand slam, you're not going to need a huge position. That would be a 3x or a 5x. What was the other one I was thinking about? We'll show you Amgen. So that's been 3 ideas for us. And again, that look like garbage, but there's the arrows, there are the patterns, making progress. A couple more. Drift asks, do you trade every PRZ? Of course not. It's all about confirmation. All about confirmation. If you haven't seen that, geez, I've got to, I need to just direct you guys to that course. Because I know I've had a lot of new questions, and I welcome all the new questions. I think I just need to kind of fire off a couple of critical sessions for people to look. I mean, go here and review volume 3. That's the place to check it out, because that's where we do HSI, excuse me, that's where we do harmonic pattern framework. We do talk somewhat of HSI there, but it is important that you look at the seminar session. Let me, I'm going to pop in a video really quick. Hold on. Here we go. All right. Check it out. And I'll make this, are these on? Okay, these are the private vids, but for you guys, I'm going to put them here. And I'll put them in the chat links as well. So here are the course material for everybody. And I'll add this to the basic members page too, because I've had a bunch of people ask me about this. Check out these videos, folks. Go there. You can save them. Those are from a course. Oh, let's try this again. Check out that, and then check out these. All of those are in the chat, and I'll post those in the basic members page. There are more videos to learn on the basic members page, but the key is get with the software and work with the software as you're doing it. Oh, Arista Networks, no, I missed that. Arista Networks, that's just another one. Some of these really got away from me last year. Arista had a whole bunch of patterns at 100. Now it's closing in on a double. Just amazing. A lot of these are amazing. Someone asked me about PayPal, and yeah, it's still a buy. This is another one, long term, creeping out of the hole, and it's a type 2. Meaning it did the pattern completion, it did our reaction, bang, came all the way back down, and now starting target 2, starting the target type 2 reversal where you go to 89. on this move. And then potential for longer term recovery, absolutely. I mean, that's really how you want to look at these, where target the minimum recovery and then let's see if we get more. We get a bigger thing to develop. Drift says he has the MT4 software. You trade forex. Awesome. Get with the MT4 for HPC, and we'll look at a couple of dollar pairs. All of that's on the website. Check that out. One or two more. Here's Tesla really quick before I get out of here, or at least get out of the stocks. Look, Tesla's got a couple of back-to-back patterns right now that I'm looking at this closely. There on the weekly, we completed a bat pattern at 295, and target 2 off the bat, off of the bullish bat, was hit as well. So Tesla might be in more for a pause, like doing like one of the first ones to go into the pause. But right now, for today, I know I posted this earlier on the Discord. Look, we're still going to look for 5-minute patterns like that. And Tesla's hitting that now. I wanted to update that. So we're still looking for stuff like that, but just be mindful that these moves aren't going to, they'll be probably reactive moves back to static resistance. For Tesla, I think, maybe you get back to 270, 275. Still 10, 15 points. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. I just think some of these are in a sideways pause. The weekly chart's actually really clean. More on that. Couple more. Mr. Todd says Novavax is a forex minimum. Probably should be. Hopefully will be. I think there's been a bunch of those. Here's one that I mentioned earlier, Redfin. And daily right now, where is that? Redfin, was it Redfin? Maybe I confused that with something else. Or was it this? So a couple of these low floaters. Here's this, Community Health System, CYH. So here's another one, perfect type 2 coming in here. 353 is the number. If we can retest that XA level, that's perfect setup type 2 for these kind of low floater, like your Novavax. Here's CYH. Bunch of these. We've been lining these up left and right. Couple more. Jeff wants to look at Coinbase. Yep. Here's Coinbase. Wasn't that at 90 this morning? What do we have down here? Something, I thought we had something on the hourly or 4-hour oversold yet. No. Might be confusing this with something else. We don't have any, haven't had any 5-minute patterns except for, that bearish pattern last week. We had a couple here. We just don't have anything yet on Coinbase. Still looking for a pullback. I'd look on the hourly here. Maybe we get something a bit lower. I do like, I mentioned Clean Spark, and take a look at Riot. These keep coming back here. Riot's got this pattern, that bat pattern. Every time it gets down to 17, it's bouncing, and this has been a few times. So, listen, you don't need to hit a home run off of this, but certainly this is tradable. 1, back, 2, back, 3. If you're looking nice day trades, that's it. Off of that pattern, hit it for $1, $1.50. Not even 80 cents, 1,000 shares, whatever. That's a nice day. The other one that is been rocking is Neo. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on it because I've posted this. This is a massive pattern, so we're just coming out of the zone right now. That's why Neo's doing what it's doing. Drift, what's up? He's saying he's confused on the multiple time frame. Drift, you got to take a look at the webinars, especially like the option thing. If I'm looking, and it's really specific, I'm specific on the time frames. If I'm if I'm looking for day trading opportunities, I'm looking at a 5-minute pattern. I'm looking at a 30-second pattern, but I'm in and out within an hour, 2 hours. If I'm a little longer term, it's probably like a 60-minute with an hourly or a 4-hour with an hourly, and considering daily. I mean, it's either short term or it's a little longer term. I'll go through a couple of these to demonstrate. Google wants to look at JTOGs. What's up, man? Google trying to break above this target too off the weekly crab, much like Meta. It's amazing because Google really stuck around, didn't really move until March. And remember, we were saying 93.3, 93.33. Okay, now 132. And 886 on Google is still the play, 145. Nice, Daniel. Daniel's up on Neo. That's great. Hey, Victoria. She wants to look at NEG. How are you today? New Egg Commerce. No idea what that is. Super low floater. I like the idea here. I just think there's, flashing a little bit. Not bad. I mean, this is the idea behind these low floaters. You get some kind of, you're $1 or you're $3. Hey, I'll show you. Here's a low floater that worked out. Here's Nicola. Was that it? What was down here? Where are my patterns? Hold on. Maybe it wasn't that. Oh, it was Tupperware. This Tup had something down here before it got crazy. Yeah, there you go. I had a butterfly. So it's, listen, that's a well-chosen example, and that's super sloppy, but that is the kind of idea you're looking at these. One or two more. Well, hey, Bit Digital. That was a low floater. That's weekly chart. Continues higher. Taking its time, but look, that's impressive. You want it to stay above $4, folks, and as soon as it breaks above 450, 460, that's gone. So these are all in a nice spot. Yep. I mentioned this last time. Looks like it's getting closer. We got a sorted kind of retail thing happening where things like Starbucks putting in, rolling over, and looks like it's running for a type 2 really soon. And that would be a nice area to be looking at that. Or the other retail, Macy's down here with a whole bunch of patterns coming back in. This is just taking its time. But there's a lot of support down here. Just kind of flushing out. I think this is also on a weekly. Yep, Shark on a weekly. These are nice patterns, early developmental stages of their move before they get to target 1. That's like Rivian, basically at the same price. We talked about Rivian at 14 to go to 17, 18, went to 27. Actually, it's 23. One or two more. Here's something interesting, kind of a new one, new idea. Bristol Myers Squibb. And again, it seems like it's difficult to find patterns. But then we got stuff like that. So keep looking. Run your scanners if you want. Go, that's an easier way to do it. But always patterns available. That's my point here. There's always something in completion, hitting a target. So if you feel like, oh wow, that bullish pattern really took off and now I missed it. Well, there's things like this. Lots of things like that. One or two more. What do you guys have? Yeah, Matthew, check out the resources, check out the videos that I posted. You guys want to look at Lucid? Lucid's just like Neo and the rest of them. Hasn't popped hard yet, but getting there. Look, it's getting there, and it's just sometimes these are delayed. Others, are in play. But Lucid, just resolving. It's a type 2 because it's off of this crab. It did that one crazy move to 15, all the way back down. Now we're at 7. It is a type 2. We're looking for that to go back to 15. Doesn't change. Carnival Cruise, guys. Look, it's been a crazy winter. Just sitting up here shy of 20. I think it's a pause, and it's trying to set up to go higher. Where's the hourly here? You got something down here on the hourly. Here you go. So another one where this thing has really been strong. It's a continuation play, 17 bucks. Really nice retest of that bat pattern. That's another example of a harmonic pattern, lower time frame against the daily, like an hourly or a 5-minute even. Retesting a couple of times before it starts to go. So keep an eye on that. Couple more. Let's look at, well, crude oil. So crude oil and banks, that's been the ticket for how do we get this to become a major move. You need to see crude oil take off, go higher, not Colgate Palmolive, but crude oil. So light sweet crude, we know the deal. It's a bunch of patterns there, 70. There you go. 77. What was that? One second. Okay, what am I missing here? No, there was a weekly pattern on that. Where'd it go? Yeah, I'll come back to that. I don't know what the heck's going on, but it's making progress. I like it. XLE, Energy ETF. A tough one because it hit exactly 76.45 and went to a type 2. We're up against that bat pattern. Even if we pull back or we pause, this is coiling up like it wants to try to make a run to the all-time 886 one more time. So we do know the deal with XLE and a lot of the big name stocks that the weekly patterns here are substantial. And that's why a year ago, more than a year ago, we caught this big oil move. It was one of the things we really featured. But we've been looking at this as a pause ever since that crab pattern hit. And we're going sideways, sideways. Well, guess what? We don't have any confirmation yet. And we're clearly range bound in crude oil. We could be popping back up to 90 bucks and not do any, it'd be significant either way. So, and that's where I think this is headed. You are testing overbought. So it doesn't seem like a lot has happened recently. Well, check it out. You're already pushing the maximum limits of how far you can go for this move. So you brush up to 90.50 and roll back over again. Maybe that's it for now. Short term up, longer term still has a lot of work to do. And again, don't need to go too much time, but things like Chevron, that's been on the daily, really beautiful pattern, doing nothing. This is where you get into the trade and then you make some progress, but here's your confirmation, and then you go 30 bars and you're still in the zone. We're 50 bars and we're barely out of the zone. So, and printing a shark pattern, it's just not that exciting at the moment. So don't be surprised. I haven't been looking for much here. Maybe back to 177.93 on Chevron. But if it takes another month or two to do that, I'm not surprised. I mean, crude oil is just not really where it's happening right now. Money's not flowing there. There's no reason for it to flow there. Money's still going to flow to the tech. I think money's looking for a place to go in the secondary tech issues. So all of this has to do with the dollar. So quickly, I haven't looked at the dollar in like 2 weeks, but take a look at what's going on here. Couple of bullish patterns on the daily where the 98, 99 level, clear support, trying to be support. But interesting to note that haven't done much in the last 2 weeks because of this move. Sorry, they changed their arrows. So from there to there, but that's the end of the type 1 on that little pattern. If dollar rolls over and does a retest, that's how the market does maybe one more push higher to the 886s. Certainly, look, dollar rolled over right at the lows last October. Peaked out. There it is. That was the market low, and it's almost an inverse chart. So if you're looking for that, you want to see dollar index roll down more. And take a look at stuff like Euro USD. I mean, we haven't looked at that in a while, but look, long term, super long term. There are patterns down here. That's why you did your move. Maybe we have one more retest, but there are a lot of big patterns. Here's the monthly chart. And a lot of them they're monthly. They're even quarterly charts. I think the British pound is on the monthlies. It's like a big crab pattern. Yeah, there you go. That's monthly British pound. All the way back at par, 100. And dollar yen, same deal. There you go. Amazing. There you go. That monthly, look at that monthly crab pattern on dollar yen. 165 still is happening. I mean, that's still a viable target where we are, and it clearly, putting the floor at 128, 130. So be aware of those developments. We don't look at it too frequently, but dollar index is rolling over, and maybe this little pause is going to start to open up, at least in the currencies. Couple more. Mr. Todd, contact me. You don't need to save the money for the software. Contact me. I'll set you up. All right. DM me in the Discord or email me. Anybody that's having trouble, if you can't afford the software, just message me directly. All right. And we'll set you up for at least 30 days. I give everybody a trial for 2 weeks, but ask Philly. Ask my new friend, where is he? Where'd Philly go? Yeah, Big Qua. Ask Big Qua, man. So hook that up. Why? Because it only takes a month or two of the software for you guys to get on this and see what we're doing. Same goes with the options. Just connect with me on Discord with that. All right, a couple more. In fact, let's just jump over to crypto. And I'm going to shoot through the top 5. Because guess what Bitcoin did? Shark to 5-0. Shark to 5-0. There you go. Almost hit 28.3 depending on your data feed. But that is what we've been talking about forever. And again, I've been saying that this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be a big test in here. It's minimum 28.3 and then get me an oversold register here on daily or weekly. Here you go, weekly. Okay, come on down and get some kind of flush in here. It could be as low as 27, but we are looking for that to happen. And for this to set up something, to set up a 5-0, look, for this to go from shark to a 5-0 and then really go. Like that. In fact, I like that arrow now because that's how it really should be. Getting close on that. That's number 1. Number 2 is Ethereum, probably less actionable, but 1800. Just really don't need to say any much on here. 1800. This too has a shark at the top. It's a little bit bigger. Okay, I want to see some kind of pullback or an oversold reading. But we know we've been featuring really looking at Bitcoin. And again, this could come back to 1607 within this longer term trend. We have nothing here at the moment. And I'm not afraid of missing out on this. I'm just waiting for something to set up. Maybe come back to 1607 and register an oversold trigger. It really is about the next oversold trigger. Number 3, speaking of oversold triggers, you want one. XRP is our new number 3. And I'm kind of glad, I haven't bought any, but I'm kind of glad that I can buy it again on Coinbase. Still this weekly pattern, and it's still all about just resolving what happened on the type 1. So we did the type 1 reaction already, and I'm thinking it's either here at 70 cents or we come back to like 55. Thanks, Mount Zion. Appreciate that. Mount Zion saying that the HPC software was the game changer. He was drawing patterns on his own, and he was usually too early or too late, and the software brought it together and really honed it all in. So that's great to hear. Yeah, that's why we're doing what we're doing with the options and even the short-term stuff, the super volume tech traders. But XRP, folks, I'll be the first one to let you know when I get back in on this. I owned this long ago when it was still okay to own it because of all of the hype. I think I caught part of this last cycle, but I do think that this is fundamentally, with all the payment options and potential here, this is better than most. Number 4, Cardano. And Cardano is more, I really don't have a preference between number 4 and number 5. But pattern-wise, I want to be looking at all these patterns down here. We're coming off of this little bat pattern where 36 cents is capping it for now. But again, it's all about 28 cents. And you're really close to coming back and getting another shot at 28 cents. And I've said that all along, 28 cents on Cardano. Number 5, and no preference, is Doge still. And Doge, I'm looking for that back at 7 cents. Come back and give me a 2 of 2 of the Gartley. We could even say 7.25 cents. And you're a half a penny from getting there. But look, when you're basing and you're doing long-term consolidation basing work, these thrusts to under 7 cents every time you probe it and you come back are important. They're opportunities. Don't forget, the other thing we talked about was we have this crab pattern. Okay, this crab pattern has a hop level at 7.2 cents. So that's another reason why, how do you know? Like, what do you know? How do you know if it's 12 cents or 10 cents or 7 cents? It's pretty clear this hop level where you spend over a year going sideways and now you're printing more patterns, two patterns back to back there is meaningful. And so I'll look at that. And I think, somewhere down there, 7 cents, if Doge is going to do anything or be something, not only does 7 cents hold, but you start to make progress where you could go sideways for several more months, but you don't go any lower. You don't go under 6 cents. You don't go under, really 6.5. And you start to make progress out of there. If you're looking to speculate in crypto, I like what sits there. Couple more other things that are sitting there, if you will. Binance Coin doing nothing. Sideways, there's a crab pattern down there. There you go, deep crab, just sideways, parked. Not much, but that has to hold. Okay, I'm not looking at that for opportunity. I think there's better things, but that has to hold really on a market capitalization basis, because if that starts to really fall apart, that's going to trigger other panics, in my opinion. Couple more. Where is Cosmos is back down here. So this is another one where we've waited for the full retest forever, and here we are. And this is going to come back and retest at around 8.2, $8.10 for a big type 2 of a Gartley. So that's another one where it's a 2 of 2. There's really not anything else there that would get me excited, but just the fact that it is a 2 of 2 and you've got confirmation. So that's pretty good. And then you look at something like, where's Link? There you go, down here. This another one just going sideways forever. I'm looking for this to go back down now. And you're almost halfway there. But back down at $6, just again, I would look at Link if that drops into the zone. Like if Bitcoin does a flush, which is what I think is possible here, a lot of these are going to come back down for one more time. Here's Matic, folks. So Matic, real nice chart. Almost a perfect type 1 butterfly. Initially didn't get all the way there, but it's going to come back. 68 cents now. If it does the retest on Matic, okay, that's a better spot. That's a kind of a confirmation of that spot. There you go. Where's the other one? There you go. Really close. Setting up for what would be considered a nice retest against the whole backdrop of the next 6-8 months. Think of it that way too. So crypto comes in here, and let's go to total indices. We want this. You want some kind of correction into September, October. Almost a flush. Maybe not a flush, but you want some of these to get taken out where it looks pretty nasty, but it's a short-term shakeout. Here's total. index total 1. That's with Ethereum and Bitcoin, and just hugging that trend line that started last year, and you're looking for that to continue. I mean, it really, even though that's underneath the trend line, it should be an opportunity, and you're looking for a target 1 objective still 1.65. And I've said 1.1 on the index is critical. It really needs to stay above 1.1 going forward. So getting close though. Almost oversold. Couple more. On total 3, those are the 2 to consider because they're so different. You take out Ethereum and Bitcoin, and you got the rest of the garbage. And that is, look, it is a big pattern, and we're all the way back down here. It just has proven itself to not do anything in the zone. So, look, if we take more time, don't be surprised that these altcoins, they don't do much. Or what would even be better for altcoins, have another flush. So let me talk 1 second about Richard Hart and Hex. Important to just consider this, okay? I have nothing against the guy. I really don't. I just think all of the signs that you want to see, or all of the signs and things that, you know, Mitch Ray and I have talked about this guy. He was actually on Mitch Ray's podcast a year or 2 years ago. I think everything you want to see about what's wrong with narrative and hype is built into this story. And the other thing is that we had a number of critical patterns along the way on Hex that told us this thing was going down. Not that it was personal, Sonny. It's not personal, Sonny. But we really, for the obvious reasons, you know, I mean, you get behind something like that and you see a 99.9% drawdown off the all-time high. Okay, it just, I don't understand why people would stay with this. Maybe they think it'll come back. It's really reminiscent of .com garbage. And so I know a lot of people got crushed. And I don't get it. Like, I personally, I've said this many times before. I don't know why it is like this, but let's just take it for what it is on a measurement basis. Hex was a type 1 deep crab on the big meltdown when it went to 50 back to like 3 cents, and it did participate in a huge run up in January. And it was a type 1 deep crab, and that's it, and got slammed all the way back down. So we've talked about these measurements. We outlined why, just from a harmonic pattern perspective, that it just, the price action, the formation was really showing us that look, it was not set up right. And I'm going to go to something where I posted this a while back. I think it was, sorry. Hold on. It was over a year ago. Let me see where I can get maybe this has got it. Yeah. So we had some bearish patterns at 20 cents last year. I think it was back here around 20 cents. I don't know why it's not populating. And I posted it, and a lot of people attacked me who were into Hex or whatever. And I just said, look, guys, it's about the patterns. It's about measuring the market. I don't care how fanatical you are. It's about measuring the market. And I joked, I sent Mitch a note. I said, hey, maybe now it's time to buy Hex. Maybe now it's time to buy Hex. I don't know. But I just think this is all kind of come together where, yeah, you saw it from a mile away, but the patterns were there to say, you know, stay away. And that's the lesson, I think, with that whole crypto cycle from the last time. Look, the second half of last cycle's back end is only wrapping up now. So that's, something to consider where you're still seeing the consequences of what happened 2 years ago play out now. Buyer beware. Buyer beware. Okay, SHIB, because we did talk about SHIB last time, and SHIB had pattern down there. There you go, SHIB. But buyer beware. Okay, SHIB anywhere under 871 here. What is that? 8 millionths of a penny? Doesn't matter. That's a better pattern, but these meme coins, I think when you see what's happening, let's go with crypto that has functionality. Just more than a pot. I mean, Doge is just a pot of money. But if Elon Musk makes it a payment system of Twitter, well, then it's in play. Interesting that they haven't gone after him to the extent, though, for the same reasons. We have to have patterns, folks, and we really, that's what keeps us out of the gutter, quite frankly. I mean, Hex had no patterns, had nothing beyond the obvious reasons to stay away. Couple more. Here is, so I talked about this render, and it's a 2 of 2 here, looking for confirmation at 178. That's something else. Again, just you're on an uptrend. This is trying to hold. It's a 2 of 2. That needs to be a continuation move. So I'm looking at that. Or I'm looking at Matic. I'm looking at, what's the other one? I am looking at Doge. I really am, because if he makes it a payment system on Twitter, then the thing is going to move. Oh, here's the other one, Phantom. Now back-to-back patterns. You're back down here at 20 cents with a smaller bat or Gartley. So bat to Gartley. That's the kind of thing we want to look for. These are signs. These are kind of like little triggers that we have a consolidation cycle almost completed, trying to establish support. And these are the type of patterns I want to have left, looking left, so that when we get through the fall, okay, I can say I was positioned off of a really nice pattern, and even if it took time before it really took off, I've got something looking left here. Phantom, the longer term idea is for that to go to 216, to go to the shark on the daily. Or is it a weekly too? No, it's just a daily. This is why we're talking about crypto, though, because you're looking for that bigger move to start to come together, I would say in the next 60 days, where everybody then just gets hyper focused on Bitcoin halving. And they get involved with it because of Bitcoin halving. That's it. Brandon, you did not. Brandon sold his car to get Hex. Well, you probably didn't get a lot. Oh, Chili's. Somebody wanted to look at Chili's. Chili's was one of our bad, ugly zombie crypto picks, because we were looking at Chili's at 11.2. Now it's 7.6. It's still valid. It's still a type 2. I just think it's going to take a long time. You're going to need to see the rest of crypto pick up before something like this moves. Is it worth a shot down here? Not really. If I was in at 11.2, I would just sit on it and wait for this to turn around and come out of the zone. It's just, a lot of people talked about this, and that was all narrative. All narrative. You do have patterns here. I mean, you have 2 of 2 patterns. So, it certainly is that deep crab from a year ago is what we're looking at. It's in play here, but it's just going sideways. And until the larger crypto can get going again, these smaller ones are going to go sideways too. I don't think it'll do much. Yeah, it's probably a buy somewhere down in here, but A buy for what? A buy for a little bump, maybe, but a bigger move? Not for a while. I talked about that previously. I think with a lot of these, even with something as good as XRP, your payday's next year. Your payday's a year from now. Quite frankly, it's not now. It's a year from now. Uh, hey, let's look at a couple of the stocks. So you guys know I said Clean Spark earlier in the session, and I still think this is a place to be looking for. You want crypto opportunities? Look for this. Clean Spark to complete the type 1 down to, and then come back for 2. Or check out Overstock. There's a shark pattern. No confirmation yet, but I'm looking at that. Really what I'm looking for is some 5-minute things to day trade this as well. Like from last week, you had that crab pattern, and that blew it up. A couple of the other ones I did mention Riot as well, and I would still look at Riot, and I would look at Mara. There you go. Riot, 5-minute. Look at the deep crabs. Again, we talked about that 1750. Maybe we come back for a type 2 tomorrow. But back down at 1740, 1750, you're looking for that to go back to 20. Couple of more. We did look at Coinbase, and I just don't have anything on Coinbase right now. What's up, Goombas? CDNA? I don't know what that is. Care DX, low floater. I don't know what to do with that. Can't really do much. Tough one. There's probably better ones than that. I'll keep an eye on it. Nice pattern there, bat pattern. Probably some other things that are further along. TASI. What is TASI? Is that the Saudi index? It sure is. Shout out to all my friends over there in Saudi. There you go. There's your index. You're in a type 1. Looks like you come back for the type 2. Why? Because look, 10,650 on the TASI. I've looked at some of those individual issues on the Saudi index, and they're quite harmonic. Kind of reminds me of the Brazil index, where a lot of the individual Brazilian stocks are super harmonic. It's amazing. There you go. Couple more. What's up, Neil? Neil Cox wants to look at XDC. Canadian dollars. Weekly, big bat pattern. What is that, like an ETN of Canadian USD CAD? Here's CAD. Dollar CAD. I haven't looked at dollar CAD. I used to trade that a lot, though. I think it's USD CAD. Some are USD first, others are, that's it. Dollar CAD. I think this has got something, if I remember, the weekly strong, but wasn't there something on the monthly here? Something crazy. Monthly or quarterly? I know there was something super long term. Well, that could actually be, it's not what I'm thinking, but just as a quick look, you tell me, looks like a massive head and shoulders. That's pretty interesting. I need to do some currency work for sure. I need to look at that. XDC USD, I don't know what that is. Is that a crypto? Neil? XDC USD. That's crypto. Got to be crypto. Yeah, I can't do anything with that. Come on, Neil. What are we going to do with that? I'm going to chase that. Throw 10,000 at that at the market? No. I mean, hey, at least it's moving. I don't know what XDC dollar is, but all right. I'd rather be fishing with patterns, to the left. That's pretty good. Yes, Victoria, CAD and oil going. I like that. I do like. Look, I think the whole deal with oil is that if it didn't go down by now, let's see what happens in a year from now. But I still say oil's probably going to do the same thing it's been doing for 2 years, and then we'll really deal with it when we have a presidential election coming up. Doesn't matter though. I tell you what, the whole presidential election is going to be bullish, and you'll be bullish as they're trying to figure it out for at least the first half of next year. So I don't see anything changing where the bullish outlook differs until basically a year from now, and then we'll see. Saudi Aramco, I'll look at that for just because it's probably Saudi Aramco on. Yeah, I need those. I need that symbol. I would look at that though. Is that it? Huh. That's a nice IPO. Well done. That goes higher. There's nothing there to stop that. That just continues higher. In fact, 144 was your last trigger for support. So, just wait for that to pull back every time. But, I remember I sat down with, I forget who I sat down with and looked through a bunch of these months ago. They were looking really good. Yeah, we got to see. Let's take a look. Why not? When we're this deep already, let's look at interest rates because we know they had massive, there you go, massive patterns on your 2 year. So there you go. The 2 year is bat pattern up here. But we generated a bullish reading. What was that, 10 days ago? So I imagine this still pushes higher. But you guys know that I really think that we're scraping the maximum limit on a lot of these, if it's a 2 year or a 10 year, mainly because we did this 1618 extension. And it does go like this, the big down move from 18 to the low at 20 then was a 1618. And we have paused right there at the 1618 to where if we come back to a 382, that's mechanical. So rates at 490 on the 2 year really should be like 305. And if that happens, I said this a long time ago, and now it looks like, we could get it. If that can roll over and just not continue higher, that 382 pullback move to 3%, maybe that happens next year. Stock market will go straight up in the air. I really do think this is a structural limit. It's a structural limit on weekly or monthly. And then you look at the 10-year, which actually had more patterns. Come on. So if you're worried about rates, you're worried about interest rates, it's just not there. Hold on. There you go. Here's the 10-year on the daily. So again, bumping up against some immediate bearish patterns on the daily. There you go, shark pattern. We've been back to back. I find this interesting that, notice the patterns. Really nice patterns. The bullish bat did a type 1, type 2, all the way back now. Shark, almost a perfect type 1. I still say if it's 408, if it's 420, 430, this is resistance here. So a little higher move on rates, not a problem. But think of it this way, though. Once rates do come off this level, that's when crypto moves. So if you're wondering why crypto really hasn't moved, blame it on interest rates. Carthago, he's getting nervous on the TLT. Why? Let's look at TLT, another bond vehicle. Looks like it's rolling over. Yeah, but look, there's a bat pattern right there. Perfect. Now, the way this works is because it's directly correlated. This is the tips, right? The 20-year tips. Oh, no, that's the TLT. The tips is the tips. Tips is the with inflation. But you're printing patterns here against this support. And what, isn't there weekly? Yeah, I knew it. So look, TLT. All right, that's the bond ETF, a 20-year bond ETF. It's a perfect deep crab, bullish. So when price goes down, the rates go up. Price goes up, rates go down. They're inverse. Let's just talk about this as a harmonic pattern. All right, we're here with interest rates, TLT, all right, on the 20-year, and those rates are almost 4%, completing a massive bullish pattern. Massive. So you're looking for this thing to test support, stabilize, and eventually make a turnaround move to 125. Still early in the zone, especially because we haven't, look, the downtrend's pretty steep, but what this is saying is price is due for a rally down here. Price goes up, rates go down. So yeah, you're retesting. I just think this is like one of those nominal retest situations. Rates haven't really moved in a year, believe it or not. Pretty remarkable that rates haven't really moved that much, and you've seen what high beta stocks have done all year. You would have thought that this would have been a lot higher. So yeah, important pattern, and that's a weekly. Hey, what are you worried about? That's right, you worry too much. Hey, get the shovel. Anyway, so that's the deal. I've talked about why I thought rates were topping a year ago for the same reasons. It's just taking longer. Not a problem. What's the monthly? Isn't there something? Maybe it's on the tips chart. Monthly's oversold. Here's the tips. So Treasury inflation protected bonds ETF here. Where is it? Is it tip or is it just tip? There are the iShares. And this is adjustable for inflation. Daily, weekly, what do we got? Not a heck of a lot there. I mean, it's deeply oversold, but I think you're at static support in general on a lot of these vehicles. That's what they're showing. But once that turns around and the rate story changes, then markets fire new highs and crypto goes. That's the only reason why we're pretty much capped on a lot of that. John saying, I think more banks will collapse. Maybe. They're all piling into bonds. We'll have to see. But listen, a lot of them, remember, a lot of them that we've talked about. Here's one, New York Community Bank. A lot of these put in massive patterns down here on that big drawdown this spring. There's NYCB. But some of the better ones or bigger ones, PNC. Again, I think, 130 is going to be a big line in the sand on that one. PNC. And it is a type 2 on the daily. It's an ugly type 2, but look, PNC hop level is 132. It got as low as 112. But that should be a massive low, major. Here's the other one. I brought that up last time, Truist. I think who brought this up? Pete last time? Or maybe it was Daniel brought up Truist. And Truist is a type 2 crab pattern, 35 under 35 still, but your confirmation's more like 28 or 30. A lot of these got crushed and have yet to turn around yet. Others doing a little bit better. Here's Schwab on the weekly. It's a massive Gartley. Now I'm looking at that as, is that the end of the type 1? Because we got a dot. You're at target 1. So I'm watching that. I'm watching something like Schwab. But some of these have done some remarkable moves. And Bank of America is probably the most ideal of all of them. It's a perfect 2 of 2 on the daily. Weekly is a crab pattern. Daily is a butterfly. And it looks like this. There you go. So 2 of 2 there. This might just go sideways as it builds out of that support zone. There was one other one. Oh, Goldman Sachs. So Goldman hasn't exploded like at JP Morgan, but it's coming off of 2 of 2 patterns itself. A lot of things here where, if this tries to make moves to go back to the all-time high, so be it. I mean, you have enough things here where banks can turn around, crude oil can turn around, and I didn't even show the diamonds. So probably the biggest story of all, and this is a good spot to kind of finish up on it. The Dow continues to rage and not so much be crazy point days, but the fact that it's up every day. And then look at this chart on the weekly. Is the beginning, not the end, it's the beginning of a move where theoretically this first thrust to the 886 is the first move. Or even if we're going to connect dots, we could do something like this. This could quickly become a W formation like this. There you go. And your B point, this one, we call that a 786 because it's 75.6. It's within our plus minus 3% tolerance, which says, all right, minimum butterfly. And I don't think that's a stretch for this kind of move that's been happening for the last 4 months, 5 months. And you go to a 127. Takes time. It's not going to happen in a big move, but it's more than impressive. I mean, it really is more than impressive to have that many days, 15, 16 days out of 17, whatever it is, and continue to go higher. So respect that. Respect that it's not just NASDAQ. This is not just a NASDAQ situation. Here's something I haven't talked about in a while, but I'll come back to it, is Disney. It is one of the stocks. So when we looked at Tesla and Meta and the rest of those, Amazon, we also were looking at Disney. Okay, Disney probably the biggest underperformer of all of those that had this 2 of 2 scenario at 85 bucks. It's back there at 85 again. I'll look at this if it can break out. That would be the end of it. That would be, you're looking at maximum support longer term. I mean, go back, you were trading here in 2016. The other deal with Disney, and again, it's kind of like it's gone so far, but it can't go any lower. I mean, just going sideways, flatlining. Your COVID 886 is 93. So there's no rush here. If you're under 90 bucks or even 93, you're still in a buy zone here. But you're looking for that stabilize and then get back to say 110, 112, something like that from here. So potential opportunity there. And we did generate some confirmation and you dumped on it, but you're not following through. Earnings, when are they? Next week. So maybe it's worth a shot. There's a few other ones that I'll get to next time, but some of the Dow stocks, they are not going down. In the face of a lot of different bad news. Here's one other one, 3M. I think I mentioned that earlier. But in the Dow, and like a lot of them, got crushed last year, and these are starting to come around. So I want to look at those because if this larger move is going to happen, it's going to break out into the other stocks and other sectors. Definitely. Hey, Jeffrey's saying gold will skyrocket soon. I think gold will make that move after we do one more retest. Next year will be inflationary. I look for that inflationary thing to start towards the end of the year. Gold's a great one because I think gold could, once it triggers the next breakout, that's going to be a massive move. A couple more. Hey, so everybody that's here, I want to show you guys something I'm doing to find short-term day trade opportunities. And I caught Tupperware, and this thing, and I'm out of it. Was out of it, but this thing's a monster. And I had this just a couple days ago, 2 days ago. Hold on, let me get the extended hours trading in there too. After the fact, it was what was it? It was on a 5 minute. It was at like $2, 260. And so every time one of these big ones pops up and they're running for a couple of days, I'll take a look. Here it was, yeah, back here. So little, I know it seems so small, almost trivial, but a lot of these after the fact are printing small patterns like that and they're acting as continuation moves. So I caught that from like 290 or something to I think it was 4 or 430, something like that. I mean, now it's trading 560, but let me show you a couple of these on TradingView. They're the volume gainers, and we want to look at volume gainers, either New York or NASDAQ, because you're getting money flow into there. Carnival Cruise is another one. So this has popped up, and I'm looking at this one now. I think I mentioned this earlier, but again, another one here because it's got huge volume coming into it. We know it's an uptrend, retesting a big pattern. I'd look at that one as well. I didn't even talk about, I did talk about Lucid, but here's Lucid, another one, major volume. Okay, type 1 reaction on the Gartley. The 5-minute chart has been a little bit better. Where'd it go? We had a bat there. Come back to that. But I suggest going through that. Here's another one. This Nicole, I mentioned that before. They look like hell. All right, but if you're looking on the daily or long term, look at that chart. I mean, it is a massive speculative run. But if you're looking for day trade opportunities, just go to that list. Here's the NASDAQ volume gainers. You'll have things like, all right, here was something earlier today, AMSC. Amazing weekly. That was a beautiful weekly chart, but this is what I'm looking at. 5-minute little setups. Where'd that go? Oh, back here on AMSC. But that was not, it was, maybe it was Rivian. Yeah, Rivian's another 5 minute pullback. Hold on. There you go. So Rivian, about 2660, another 5 minute retest. As long as they've got the volume and they've been on there for a week or 2 weeks, I think you can size stuff like this up. Pretty amazing. But these are more for the day trading style, not buy and hold. We're not trying to do longer term. You're in that even for a day at most or 2 days. Here's this yellow corporation. Okay, went bankrupt. That was Yellow Trucking. Nothing really. What was here? Something was here on an hourly. Oh yeah, it was a butterfly at the low. Little late to. Listen. You're going to miss out on some of them, and not all of them are going to print 5 minute patterns like this one did. Here's Nicola on where it was just last week at like 280. And I'll come back to this. But I do find this has been a good source of potential candidates to be looking at for things that are moving. Other ones that are, I think the obvious ones like Palantir I've mentioned, or Plug Power. That was another one. Again, these are all special situations that have been running nicely on volume. Yeah, Plug just came back again. Yeah, there it was. So that was last week's pattern on Plug, 1154. I remember saying that went straight to 13, right back to a bat pattern. So here we go again. Maybe come back down, 1256, and then back up. But these have been, again, volume gainers on TradingView, the right corner, either NYSE or NASDAQ. That's been help. I'll feature more of those in the Discord, and if you guys want, get over to the Discord. Check it out. Here is, before I get out of here, let's see here. So go to harmonictrader.com. Here's the information for the options seminar. It's open to all subscribers, anyone that's bought the software in the last few months. And if you have any questions, just get on Discord and contact one of the moderators or myself to get in for Friday. And for all members, it'll be on the gold members. Gold and silver members, you guys can go. It'll be on that page. I'll post it tomorrow. Get that up. One or two more questions before I get out of here. We already talked about gold. We're looking at that. APLD. What's that? Applied Digital. What is there? All right, there's a type 2. Nice one. Who put that one up there? Doob. What's up, Doob? Nice, Doob. That's a type 2 on the hourly. Daily, a little more overextended. So that's why you want to definitely cross-check those. You're at a crab pattern. That's why it's doing what it's doing. But and then going further out. All right, nice pattern dynamics. Yeah, I'll look at that hourly chart. It would have to launch off of there. But that's a good one. You know, for these individual stocks that are moving, and I mean moving like 10% in a day. It is stuff like Palantir and Rivian, a few others. Nicola, Tupperware. That's amazing. Great. What do you mean yellow? Evan, what do you mean yellow peaked at 482,000 a day? I think the thing about stocks like yellow, even though, hey, that's crazy, they're going to go bankrupt, or this NKLA, they're going to go bankrupt. It doesn't, you're really looking for patterns. I mean, look at Nicola just last week had a beautiful shark. So you have to focus on just, do you have structure? Do you have confirmation? Can you trade that crazy move? and take profits knowing you're going to get out long before the top and be happy with that. It's good. Look, I think some stuff like Palantir and Rivian, they could get going, but they're, it's not going to be straight up. It's going to take time. But we're in a great window, folks. Listen, settle in. This is going to be a very fun 6-month, 8-month window. And that's how I look at markets when they open up. Yeah, it's just and they just go. They will run like we're seeing right now. I mean, look, and Cola, that thing's going higher. Listen, let's come back Thursday. Super long session. I had no idea it was the coffee. So I'm very glad I had that coffee. Thank you. Thursday, back at 12 noon, all right? And then get on Discord if you have any questions. Until then, come on back. And then Friday morning, 9 a.m. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.